The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, this is another episode of the ModernJeeper Show with me, Matson from Metalcloak, and Mr. Modern Jeeper Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Rockstar Jeep Girl, Jesse.
Hi, how's it going?
What's your shirt there?
It says, "Don't be a lady, be a legend."
Ooh, a legend. What about being a legendary lady?
Yeah.
Wait, don't be. Well, who does that shirt?
Oh, just some, like, it's called Human Nature or Human Unlimited.
Human
They
Unlimited?
make some, like, cool women shirts, like, for badass
Because women can be cool, too. It's
Yeah.
true.
Right.
So I got to tell you, I'm going to open this thing up with just straight up because I forwarded it to you, right?
Uh-huh.
And I should have had it up here to read for a second, which I'm going to do over here on this side.
Oh, Lord.
But I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it was one of our attendees, and I didn't get his permission to read it out loud, so I won't say names. He'd probably be totally cool with it. But one of our attendees for the trip that you guys just had, which ended up being, we'll talk about it, but ended up being going from a 2-day epic adventure to a 4-day epic adventure, which was just incredible. And he basically said, I was on the San Juan ModernJeeper event. Holy shit. It's only words that can be said. That says a lot right there. Corey and Jesse are two amazing people that went above and beyond for this small group. I planned on staying an extra day, but Corey and Jesse took me on a day that wasn't even included. Seriously, this is when he's just touting you guys. Seriously, Metalcloak has a couple of winners. No duh. Like, I know that, but thank you. I had an incredible time, learned a lot about the area, pushed myself and probably not my Jeep. I'll be going more ModernJeeper Adventures. And then they had a few choice words to be said about another adventure that he had been on, some other group. So well done, guys. That's just awesome. You know, and we already knew you guys were awesome, but it's just great when somebody just goes that far out. And this isn't like, we had a great time and we appreciated the adventure. This was like you blew the guy's mind.
Well, and it was, this being the first year that we did this event, it's always hard on a first year. You never know how people are going to react. We have a lot of challenges here, and especially this time of year, and we'll talk more about that. But the group that ended up not, we had a few people that had Jeep mechanical issues. We had a couple people that tested positive for COVID. They just decided that they shouldn't come out. We had construction in the area. We had perfect weather, and we had a really great group. But it's always so hard to know, are we doing enough, too much? We pre-run a lot of stuff, and we never know timing down to, if we can hit it within a couple of hours, we think that's pretty good, because you never know what's going to happen on the trail. You could have breakdowns and repairs and all of those kind of things. So I think this year's first event in Colorado was amazing. Mm-hmm. And again, the folks who we did 2 days, and I had to adjust the schedule on the first day completely because of road construction. And they ate it up. They loved it. And the 2 days became 3, which became 4. So literally we were on the trail 4 days straight. We did 5 badge trails in 4 days. All of the San Juan, all of the main trails in the San Juans, we covered.
Wow. How incredible is that?
Well, we had to skip our 3rd day. We had to totally pick it up and go, okay, we'll set it over here. What are we going to do? And when we pulled up to Black Bear Pass before we got stopped, guess who was in line airing down when we got there?
Who's that?
Fernando and his wife.
Yeah, from ModernJeeper Adventures Moab edition. Here was a guy I had gotten a text from him a while back, and he had said, "Hey, we're going to try to make it to Colorado," but he wasn't sure of schedules and stuff. And no more contact. We pulled up to Black Bear, and there he is airing down.
Wow. That's awesome. That is
so
awesome.
Then we got stopped by the sheriff.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I kind of wanted to rant on that a little bit. So tell us what you guys learned and how you learned it when that was happening. Obviously, it's kind of spread out and it's gone out there, and we'll talk more about what actually occurred. But this is Sunday morning. You guys get out there. About what time did you?
We were there about 9 o'clock. Yeah, we met at the bottom of Uray there before you head up Red Mountain about 8:30ish. Got to the top of the trailhead. It was looking to be a pretty nice day. We're almost done airing down and getting everybody, kind of back in their Jeeps and stuff. And San Juan County Sheriff pulls in front of us and kind of, I waved to him and he pulled into the trailhead basically and kind of turned sideways.
We're like, uh-oh.
I'm like, good morning, and he got out and he walked back and he goes, well, what's your plan B for the day?
Well, okay.
And I said, well, we do have a plan B. I said, why? What's going on? And he said, well, there was a pretty serious accident on the other side on the after the switchbacks in the Telluride side this morning. And I'm like, man, for somebody to come from this side and get all the way over there by 9 o'clock, they had to be up here at 6 a.m. And he said, well, we don't have a lot of details, but they're bringing a helicopter in and they don't want, it's kind of an accident scene still. It's still being investigated, all of that stuff. So I always try to tell somebody where we're at, where we're going. So my buddy Price, who has the M&H Towing in Montrose, I let him know because he's a recovery company and good friend. And I had said, we're going to go do Black Bear tomorrow. We'll be up there. Well, I knew too that he also has he's in touch with State Patrol and the Sheriff's Department and all of that all the time. And I thought, oh no, I don't have service up here. He's going to hear that there's an accident on Black Bear and he's going to, maybe think it'll be part of our group. So we kind of said, we're going to change. We're going to go down and we'll do Engineer Pass today and go through the Alpine Loop, which we had kind of talked about with the group doing it the next day. But so we went back down, ended up getting a little bit of cell service. I sent Price a text and said, hey, the accident on Black Bear is not us. And I had a little bit of service while we were airing down to get into Engineer Pass. And he started sending me pictures of what he knew from the Sheriff's Department.
Oh, wow.
And crazy just how fast information is available to us. And we knew, again, that it was a pretty serious accident. Price said, yeah, he understood it was a Bronco Sport, one of the newer small Broncos. And really, we kind of went, wow, hope everybody's okay. And we went about our day. And that was the day we did Poughkeepsie and California Pass and Animas Forks, Cinnamon Pass, came all the way back over Engineer from Lake City.
Wow.
We the entire Alpine Loop.
The entire Alpine Loop.
A serious long day.
Yeah, was that like 12 hours? What?
We got back in to Uray about 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it will beat you up. That's a long day of eating dust.
So, I gotta, you kind of mentioned to me, right? And I think it was, I had said, hey, how did the day go? And I didn't hear back from you till later in the day because you had already been on there. So I did some looking into it when I heard about this. And first thing I start reading in the actual police report that they post up on social media was that it was a Bronco. Didn't say what kind of Bronco. So it was a 2021 Bronco. Said one, they went the wrong direction, right? So so they ignored the one-way sign and they just started going.
Didn't see the sign.
Didn't see the sign, right? And went up a couple of switchbacks, and then they decided to turn around. Passenger gets out. Start turning around, driver loses control, the vehicle rolls 400 feet. That's what I read.
Backwards.
And I heard, and all I saw was 21 Bronco. Now, at that moment, I had flashbacks to talking to good old Papa Bear out in Moab years ago. and how he was expressing that the 4-door JK was the world's most dangerous Jeep. And his philosophy behind that was now you have an entire family easily inside of a Jeep, more people in the Jeep, and people going and doing things which they may or may not be capable to do. But hey, I've got a Jeep. I can go out and do stuff. And in the early days, there was a lot more accidents. I remember Easter Jeep Safari had a whole problem because they were having rollovers and stuff occur from people that weren't prepared and had no skill. So we had talked about Skills Day back then, and doing more skills training for a moment. I think they do more of that now. But that's a flashback all of a sudden I had was, oh my God, the Bronco is going to get a lot of people that are buying it because they think it's totally capable, and they're going to go out and do a bunch of this dumb stuff that they have no reason doing. And let's put aside the fact that they went the wrong direction, right? If they had gone the right direction, they had no business in a Bronco Sport being on that trail, right? One of literally the headlines that I read was like, this is the most dangerous trail in all of Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
You have no business being on it, let alone by themselves. If they had a full Bronco, they had no business being on that trail by themselves, right? So one way or the other, they were destined to have a problem. And there's the rub. Is like, are we in another situation where people are going to go out and get this rig thinking, oh my God, it's fantastic, I'm going to go hit some trails, and then they just go driving places and have accidents like this?
Well, and we had a long conversation for 2 days. Even for me, and I've been over Black Bear a number of times, and it bothers me every once in a while. Everybody has that day, and I'm a statistic guy. So the more you do something successfully, the more chance you have of something going wrong eventually. And literally, Black Bear is one of those trails where we talked about this with the group, and I can't emphasize this enough. It's not a trail for fun, really. It's amazing scenery, amazing. It will challenge your control, your fear of heights.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you have to overcome, and the road into the switchbacks is just a road. It's fairly straightforward. It's very narrow. It's extremely steep, but it's just a road. When you get to the section before the steps, there's an area there called they call it Tacoma Rock. And it's very off camber, leans down. And this is even before you get around the corner of the view of Telluride. But it's extremely off camber. And there's been a number of Toyotas over the years that have rolled over right there, not gone all the way down.
Because you don't have articulation at all. You have to have those tires dropping to get down in this hole. And there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
That is off the side of an edge. You have inches for your tire. You can't just go down the one side because you'll be sideways. And those Toyotas go down there thinking, oh, I'll be fine. And then the tire drops and then they drop sideways into a big gulch. So,
well, and there's tons of videos, there's tons of pictures, and unfortunately, that's kind of our issue anymore. Is people go, I've seen the pictures, it's not that bad. What is the big deal? And they go up to a road where a small error can be very, very catastrophic.
So it behooves me to think about Tillamook and how Tillamook, one of the great things about some of the trails out at Tillamook were these little gates, the gatekeepers they had at the beginning and exit.
Right. Yep.
And on a trail that's as dangerous as Black Bear Pass, it would make sense to build gatekeepers at both entrances, or both exit and entrance, just to make sure that nobody in an SUV tries going up there. Or
and
you have to have a certain capable rig.
The argument in the San Juan Mountains is literally, you people are trying to keep others out. Us as small SUV drivers should be able to access these beautiful, amazing areas. It shouldn't be all for Jeeps. That's the problem. We have people going, hey, these Jeepers are just trying to keep us out. It should be an equal playing field. And I'm sorry. No, that is completely wrong.
It'll take a lot of work on that pass to make it safe for anybody in an SUV. And if you want to do that, that's fine. but don't think that you can go up there right now.
No. And so we went and did our other loop. And then the following day, we still had a couple people that wanted to go do Black Bear and Imogene. And if somebody wants to go up there, I'm more than happy to take them. And I don't want to sugarcoat any of the trails, and this goes for everywhere, Moab, Tillamook, the Rubicon, trails all over the country, Sand Hollow. People see pictures and they just think that I bought this Jeep so I can go. So I try to do, I don't want to scare anybody again, but I want them to take it seriously because it is a very big deal. So my, Jessy had actually made a post, and we have some friends in town that wanted to go. And so one of my buddies from State Patrol actually went up there with us on Monday. Monday? Yeah, Monday.
It was Monday.
And his name's Corey as well. And so we had a lot of conversations during us going up there about safety, people, the problems. Corey's been a state trooper for 20 something years, maybe close. He just retired. But a lot of things that I didn't even know. And it was kind of an interesting perspective to hear it from a trooper who the bad part about it is people are getting more and more fearless and relying on the capabilities of their vehicles to keep them safe. We used to say, oh, you laid your Jeep over. Oh yeah. You ran out of talent. Well, now there's no talent. So folks are hopping in very, very capable rigs with no talent. They've never been off-road, and they're thinking, I have a Jeep, I can go anywhere. Right. And man, that's just not the case.
Well, and it's especially when you have money. I mean, we God bless every one of our Modern Jeeper attendees, but we've had a couple of attendees who had more money than smarts, maybe. And I don't want you to say that, but very well built rig, incredibly capably built rig, but they didn't have the talent, for lack of a better word, or the skill or the training to be able to use their rig the way it should be.
Right.
Versus and the flip side's true too. We've had guys that were in totally, stock rigs and absolutely no money put in their vehicle, but incredibly good at being able to just drive the thing, right, and go through it. And that's the problem. I can go down, I can buy a Jeep, I can drop 50 grand into it. I've got the biggest, baddest built rig around. What do I do with it now? Right. And I'm just going to go. But what also gets me is that whole idea of, like in this case, they're driving off on their own to do some exploring. The dog, the driver, the passenger driving off to do their thing. Fine. But that comes down to that thing of thinking you have utter confidence in everything around you. You're going someplace you have no idea about. And we're kind of in that mode, I think, in life. Like, hey, let's just go explore something. You know what I used to do? I throw a backpack on and just go hiking out in the middle of no place. But I've been backpacking for years.
When
right?
we were young, we were bulletproof. We just didn't even have any. We didn't, like, we always knew we would overcome whatever was there. Well, and even for this gal, she knew that they should turn around. And I'm not sure what the spotters, how much experience he had, but they were backing up when she went over. So she backed up too far, and the Jeep or the Bronco literally fell forward backwards and then rolled.
Wow.
And this is she rolled down one switchback, which was about 400 feet from the top where she was at. The force was so great that it ejected the engine out of the Bronco Sport. She was also ejected, so we're assuming that she didn't wear a seatbelt. When we got down to where the Jeep sat, and Corey, my buddy, had looked at the pictures that the San Juan Sheriff's Department had put up, the cab, the driver's compartment in that Bronco Sport, if she would have been wearing a seatbelt, she would have probably walked away.
Well, and it looked like there were the airbags were fully deployed on both sides, right?
Yep.
It was complete cushion inside there, so the safety functions went into place. Yep. But not having a seatbelt is, Now, you were telling me something about seatbelts that you learned.
Yeah. So, and you know, if you think about it, and I've seen it, but I've never known there was a reason for it. So we were talking about multiple accidents that Corey'd been on, and State Patrol that he'd been a part of, and whatnot. So if you ever look at the end of a seatbelt, it's a double fold, and then there's some stitching across those folds, and then one section's got an X where the flap is kind of at, and then that's where the main stitching is at. Right. Well, that X is made to on an extreme impact collision. That seatbelt's actually made to come apart where that X stitching is to the next, kind of relieve some of that tension on that seatbelt. It'll still hold. It won't, because I asked him, I said, so have you ever seen a seatbelt break? And literally there was one instance where he'd seen a seatbelt break, but it was extremely out of the ordinary, big truck, big man. Yeah. So again, circumstances played a role in that, but in all those years, only one time. But those seatbelts are designed to give a little bit at first, but they're only designed for really a single collision. So when you have multiple collisions over and over, there's a possibility that eventually that could come apart.
I wonder if that's true about a PRP straps, because when I drove my race Jeep, I mean, every race seemed like collision after collision after collision.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's
supposed
why
to be replacing those every
yeah,
race.
And that's why they have dates on them. Yeah, that's why those dates are on there.
That's true. That's true.
But for a vehicle, I mean, if it's in that kind of a collision, more than likely the vehicle's done.
Wow.
But I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about some of these extreme trails as I get older or more mature. Everybody wants to go do them because it's a bucket list thing, or it's the badge or whatever, and it's bragging rights really is all it comes down to. And people want that picture. They want to show their friends, look what I did. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we got to step back and we go, is that really what's most important? Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and then we had Ross and Yvette have a couple of their friends come from New Mexico, I believe, and they were not about going down Black Bear. So they were going to skip that day, hang out with their friends, but then we got switched to what they wanted to do the next day. They were real skeptical about going to Black Bear, but finally, I went back and forth with Yvette, and she was just terrified. Ross was like, I don't want her screaming at me. I won't be able to concentrate, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I told her, I said, you're going to regret not doing it. I know it's scary, but you're going to feel very accomplished, because you do. And some people, of course, joked with me, well, that's not the worst road there is out there. And I'm like, to each is their own. I have a fear of falling. That is my greatest fear, is falling. And heights I'm getting a little bit better at. But Yvette rode with me for most of the down into Telluride, because she was like, I got to let my husband concentrate, because I don't want to be beating on him and I don't want something to happen. So she hopped in with me. And she was totally calm with the whole thing. And of course, at the end, she was like, you're totally right. It was amazing.
But that sounded like peer pressure. Like, you put a little peer pressure on her. Like, you're going to regret this. Come on, try it. Just do it.
Because I know our capabilities.
You're going to regress it. Well, that's awesome,
I know our capabilities. And that's awesome. I knew that they would want to enjoy it. She says, one and done. And I said, don't blame you. Yeah. I get that feeling too. And that day we pulled up before, I had a feeling, I just had this really bad feeling. And then when the sheriff pulled up, I was like, okay, that was the one thing that was wrong. Because that day, usually I don't get too spooked about Black Bear. It scares me, but that morning I was just not feeling it. And I was relieved to see the sheriff pull up, because it just wasn't our day that day.
Yeah, there's certain times that we'll go wheeling, and we all have those feelings, and it's recognizing those feelings as to maybe today is just not my day. And we were just talking to our buddy Ricky, who was just part of the LJ Adventure. and they were in Disney, Oklahoma. And you know, there's a rock, an obstacle there called Viagra, and it's you can try it a couple of times. It's a very, very large
rock bouncer
big
hill
rock. Yes,
is what it is, and it's dangerous.
But when something goes wrong, and it's like, and what happened is, he told me he just lost an airline. No big deal. They can repair it in 5 minutes, and he had tried it a number of times and was just like, yeah, you know what? And when the airline came apart, he was like, I'm done. And to recognize that, you know what, today is not your day is okay. There's not many trails that we do where there's a chance of falling off the earth.
Right.
And when that is a consequence of making a small mistake, I don't want to fall off the earth. I want to laying it over in a ditch or putting on its side. That's great. But when you are going to go a significant distance, yeah, that's not good.
No. Well, and that's one of those, as a motorcycle rider, it's the same way. Like, I can get up in the morning, get dressed and go, I'm not feeling it this morning. I feel a little off. Yep. And you can't be a little off. You can't just decide, you know what, I'm a little off this morning. I'm not quite paying attention. I just stubbed my toe or something. Not the day to get on the motorcycle and get out there and ride it. Right.
That's right.
And same's about now when I was younger and I was like, oh yeah, it's good. Like you, I mean, let's go try these obstacles. Right. I'm not that guy anymore. I enjoy going out wheeling and I'd love to do some things. Maybe I'd love to do Black Bear with you one day. But I'm not going to go like on the Rubicon. You go up the Rubicon and there's things like, you know, Soup Bowl or stuff like, hey, the Rubicon's beautiful. I don't stop and say, let's go spend some time and beat up on Soup Bowl or let's go try something else. Right. It's fun to watch others do it, but that's just, I'm not that guy anymore where I need to go, I'm going to try this. Oh, look, there's a cliff there. Let's see how far we can go. Right. I've broken enough stuff. Right. It's fun. Watch other people do it. But you know, it's just, so I get it. You know, you want to kind of go.
And the manufacturers this is kind of a good segue into the manufacturers are modifying vehicles. They see the need, they know what sells. And now all of a sudden, you know, Jeep releases this Extreme Recon edition that's going to be available as a package. And now all of a sudden you're going to get 35-inch tires. You're going to get that little inch and a half lift. You're going to get 456 gears. So all of a sudden, you're going to have an even more capable Jeep. You're still going to have the same talent base, right? I mean, now it's just, well, I don't even need to make those mods now. Now out of the box, I can go anywhere. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's, I don't know. I think all it comes down to really is, guys, off-road vehicles are fantastic. They're good. You can learn how to use them and they're going to have fun with them. But there's some just basic things you got to follow. Just like you need to put gas in a rig, there's some basic rules you need to follow. One, it's just like, it's like scuba diving. You never go by yourself. Never. And I have a buddy, you know, God bless him. He lives in Thailand, I think now or something. I don't know, but he was a Sacramento local scuba diver. He was the guy who would always go by himself, scuba diving for a long time. And he had a group. There was a group of buddies that would do it all the time, and he'd be part of that. But he was the guy who would go do it by himself, whatever. But he lives in Thailand now, and he's doing other things. But for the most part, it's just a rule. You just don't go by yourself, right? And it's good about wheeling too. Don't go by yourself. Just especially if you're not familiar, and I don't know. I would be curious to find out, what does Google Maps say about Black Bear Pass? Like, could they be following Google and maybe it sent them in the wrong direction?
I think I was told that Google has put Black Bear as closed. So the idiots won't go and do it. That's on Google. I don't know about other maps, but they said it was labeled closed.
Well, I'm wondering
we're starting to see more and more signage placed. In fact, it was interesting at the base of Black Bear. I don't know if it's a brand new sign, but there is a much larger sign stating that this is a one-way road. We're also seeing...
I don't know why there's not arrows painted on the dirt.
Right. What's interesting is there's we're seeing more signs on like Last Dollar Road, Ophir Pass. There wasn't anything on Imogene that I saw.
Last Dollar,
but
yeah.
big signs that say truckers. If your navigation system says that this is the road you should be on, your navigation system is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
stay on the highway, turn back now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, and we hadn't seen those signs like that before. And I'm looking here. It shows on Google Maps. It shows Black Bear Pass, and when it's closed, let's see here if I get to the end. If I get down into the Telluride side, that's the loop. I don't see where it actually says a whole lot about it.
You may have to put directions in, and it may go, hey, no, you cannot go this route, or tries to go around the route. Because if you don't know it's there, then why would it show up on there anyway?
Right.
Because when you put directions in, it gives you certain paths, and I'm sure it's not going to go.
So how did
okay,
just the curiosity, if you're driving up to the end of Black Bear, like where were they driving from, and did they actually like have the intention of going to that road, or did they have to, or just happen to be, oh look, let's try this road?
Well, so Bridal Veil Falls is at the very bottom, which is the tallest falls in Colorado. You also go through where the smuggler mine was, and you can go up to the road that leads to the old the power plant, where the river actually ran through, and there's a little structure,
a
big house
on the cliff.
On the cliff, and you can from that point up is one way, and that's where the majority of the signs are. So you can go up a couple of switchbacks till you get to that point. I mean,
and then there's big sign says one way only, do not proceed. I mean, it's right there. It's all barricaded as signs, but I didn't see a sign.
No, and
either way, it's like it's hard to turn around for anybody, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to turn around on. I mean, they did it. It looked like they were attempting to turn around on a switchback.
And then they backed down that switchback and probably just lost it because she went off that edge.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happened, but she went backwards off of it.
Well, the dogs seem to only have minor injuries, and the driver, I think, is critical care right now, critical condition.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Is alive. Well. That's good. First, the report I heard was that it was a fatality, but I'm glad it was not.
Yes.
And so now it's going to be like, now I can just see the arguments in the future. But you're the one who told me to turn that way.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, and again, there's big signage down there, but if you don't pay attention and you don't read, just like the folks that say, well, my phone said I can go that way. Stop paying attention so much to what your phone says. Use some common sense and kind of go, yeah, but look at that road.
Whoa.
I know, I said
there's signs. There's signs.
Common sense. Whoa, yeah, what are you? The thought police?
Well, before you even get to the steps of Black Bear, even a quarter of a mile before you get to the bad stuff, there's a sign in the middle of the trail that says, no point of return, one way only, bye.
No point of return.
So when we got to the major big steps down into the ledges, there was a razor down there. Some guy blew by us on the pass while we were trying to take pictures, him and his girlfriend, in a little bitty 2-seater razor. And on the way down, he comes up and stops Corey and is freaking out.
Yeah, he walks up to me and he's pointed at me. And I'm like, hey, man, this is just one way. And he goes, I know. We can't continue.
He got scared.
And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, we're out here on vacation. This is our second day, and I'm freaked out. Like, we can't go down that. And I'm like, you saw the signage that says expert only. Like, you got to be experienced. And he was like, I'm in my razor. Like, it's pretty set up. And I'm like, yeah. And here you are. Your razor is very capable. And I told him, you've already gone down Tacoma Rock. You've already gone down these off-camber ledges. You'll be fine to continue going forward. It's going to be more difficult for you to come back up right here. And he was having none of it. My buddy Corey got out, and we were going to back him up so that we could get around him. And
that was sketchy.
He had to have a 5-10 minute conversation with the guy just to put him back in his razor and say, you're okay. I'm going to spot you. He's like, it's going to feel a little weird, but you're totally fine. And this kid was like,
freaked out.
What are we doing? Why are we up here? And again, he's already beyond the point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The rest isn't horrible. It's just it's tight. Yeah. And you're looking down at Telluride.
It's 4,000 feet from the top.
And again, he was by himself him and his buddy or whatever. And
him and his girlfriend.
Him and his girlfriend in his razor by himself.
Yeah.
At least I said he was smart enough to know his limitations instead of going,
Yeah.
And then making a small mistake and being at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah. Yeah. But, we can't protect people from mistakes. We can't protect people. Like, we're never going to be able to stop the world. And we shouldn't be in a position where, if somebody rolls off and kills himself, prayers and God bless them, but, and prayers for their family, but that also shouldn't be in a position where it turns around and affects the rest of us, right? Like, we don't want people popping up and going, okay, well, somebody died on Black Bear Pass and that's it. You guys can't use it anymore, right?
Yeah. Right.
It's the same, helmet laws. Let's go back to helmet laws. Why did they pass helmet laws? They passed helmet laws because some people were being stupid, right? The high school kids riding around on a racing motorcycle, a Yamaha or a Ninja or whatever, and riding those with flip flops, shorts, no shirt, and no helmet.
Right.
And then getting accidents and going brain dead because they were being stupid, right? Mm-hmm. So the rest of us have to now comply to rules and laws because other people are being stupid. And we see that more and more. Now, the other interesting part about it is going to be these vehicles, and I can foresee this happening. These vehicles get a little bit more autonomous. And as the Jeep gets a little more autonomous and things, right, people working at it, the moment that the Jeep says, oh, wait, I need to go this way.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody's kind of go, let's just see how it goes. And all of a sudden the Jeep goes, I need to go this way because there's a rock there. Oh, wait. Oh, too late.
Yeah.
Right. And you see that happening with even Teslas and watching it and how they think. And I may have mentioned this before, but just watching the Tesla AI think about all these things around it, what it's looking at, everything that's going on is amazing.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, the trails we do, it's not Disneyland. There's no little track in the middle where we can just keep bouncing off the little track. It's like when we're little kids.
I hated that.
Oh, I know. It's like, come on, let me drive. I'm not dumb. And so you mentioned a little bit ago, you said, so I want to know what we're going to say instead of saying, so I got to go put gas in my rig. Are we going to start saying, wait a second, I need to charge up?
Yeah. I need to charge up.
Some electricity.
And electricity. I need to charge up. I need to deploy the solar panels.
Yeah, hold on. I got to put my solar out so I can keep continuing down the road here.
But I want it to be like Wall-E, right? You put out the solar panels and it goes, you're charged up, right? Be able to put out the solar array. It's like you end up starting to have to plan your trips based on your solar array. Did you guys, that movie? Hell, was it the Mars movie? I forget the name of the movie.
With dude that was up there by himself and everybody left him.
Yeah. Everybody left him. The Martian. Yeah. So that and there he's out. He's going out there and having to plan out his trips and put out his giant solar array to recharge. It'll be that way. Like, all right, guys, we're going to be airing up here. And then in about 3 hours, we will be at a clearance to be able to do solar power and recharging. If you don't have a solar power station, you should stay here. I have a little extra battery power. I can give out a little bit, it's going to be a totally different game.
Well, and I've kind of changed my perspective and because of what the news and the media is reporting, Ford has just spent $11 billion on 3 new plants. They're pushing to be all electric in 5 years. There's a lot of a lot of talk about this, and I think it's interesting because us as Jeepers, and I think the general public is like, well, that's great. Good luck to them.
Well, my Ford stock is down, so I don't think it's helped them.
Well, I don't think we understand as to what this is going to do to all of us. We're all in this, and once the gasoline powered engine is they're going to be like, well, those are just for off-road use or racing or whatever. The new cars, we're going to be force fed these electrified vehicles, no matter if whatever we think of it, it's not going to come down to what we want. It's going to be what the manufacturers will produce.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm really, I think that the next 5 years are going to be extremely interesting for us as Jeepers. We've seen the charging stations at motels and hotels, and as we drive across country. Yeah. How many are there? What do you see? 4, 5?
Right.
And they're usually full.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and that was the brilliance of Tesla. Yeah. Putting these charging stations across. I saw a list of these impossibilities that Elon Musk has tackled, right? One of the impossibilities was building an electric car that was sexy and people could do, right? Well, the other possibility was putting a charging system across the country. And he didn't put 3 stations. Most of the time you see there's 9 or 10 stations and they're mostly empty, right? But he was thinking ahead. Let's put 10 stations out because there's going to be a point in time where they're all going to be full.
Right. What are we going to do when you're at your house? You've got 3 vehicles. They all need electricity. We're going to have to up the power grids. Some of these small towns can't support that much juice going into a parking lot.
Right.
It's going to be interesting. And I think that the general population is just sitting back going, well, it doesn't matter to me. I'm never going to own an electric vehicle. Huh?
Yeah, someday. Well, that, and then, there's still the fight for hydrogen. There's still other alternative fuels.
We're still going to dig up the earth.
Right.
Tremendously.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The battery power. What do you think?
Tremendously.
Let's get political for a second. The reason the Chinese are going full bore into Afghanistan now and trying to make sure the Taliban are their friends is because they have access to be able to make lithium-ion batteries. And all the resources there to be able to start building that stuff, because that stuff needs to exist, which is kind of funny.
Look at these mines, and even in Death Valley, where some of these mines are reopening because they're determining that there's valuable ore there that battery manufacturing is needing.
Right.
And these people they're like, no, we don't want these mines to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? We don't have a choice.
Right. Yeah. We want environmentalism. We want electric vehicles, but no, don't mine the earth for those.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fine. We'll just figure out all the stuff's on Mars or the moon, and we'll start mining those other planets.
Go up there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you think about that future, and again, there's going back to a movie, right? I, Robot, Will Smith. That whole idea of like, are you recklessly driving again because you went into manual mode?
Right. Yeah. What are you doing?
That's going to be that thing. You're going to get pulled over for a ticket or you're going to be in an accident. First question is, sir, were you in manual mode?
Your insurance is going to be based upon they're going to have all that information. Well, you were in manual mode, so I'm sorry, your accident's not covered.
Right. Or you're actually driving you still have a 19, but this case will be, I'm sorry, you have a 2020 Jeep JL Wrangler. Yeah, and that's manual mode, gas powered. Yeah, we don't insure that. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
I just received. We also had a long conversation about Department of Transportation, DOT standards, pulling trucks, trailers, commercially, all of that kind of stuff. I just got my new license, and Corey and I were looking at it, and it's funny. Then there's been talk, and they've modified. I had a new license before every 4 years on the commercial side. So my new one, though, they don't include your weight because that's an invasion of privacy.
Really? How about your height?
Height's still on there.
What about your color, your eyes, color your hair?
Color your eyes, but not your hair.
Because it can change. You know how many people I get that look at it and go, that's not you.
Look at that hat.
Hey!
Look at that hat.
We had these made, just as some samples, and it just says Metalcloak across front. I think we're kind of making a little bit of change on it, but
the Metalcloak M with the Metalcloak.
Well, and it has a version of it where the M is actually back here.
Oh,
we did it one where we put the M right on the back, and this is mesh. This is like a flex fit mesh hat. But the problem is, this is a Richardson. You can't get these right now.
Oh,
it's another supply chain issue. You can't actually get Richardsons.
There was I think it was our buddy Curtis had an ARS hat that if that thing had a yellow ARS in it, and it was mesh in the back as well.
Yeah. It's the same exact hat. We had the same guys. We had some guys make them. We had made ARS versions, and we had Metalcloak versions just for some testing.
Gotcha. And not available. Yeah, supply chain issues.
But now they're not available. So now we're looking at other things. But we did find, we talked about that last week about supply chain, about, did I tell you about Nike shirts? Did I share that story last time?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. So one of our suppliers does a lot of Nike shirts, and he does them, for like dealerships and that sort of thing, right? He can't get a single Nike shirt, as every warehouse across the country, there's something like 7 or 8 of them, are all empty. There's no Nike shirts available. However, at this very moment, there are 33 containers outside of Long Beach on about 14 different ships of Nike shirts that are part of that big gang of ships over there that simply can't get processed and get off. And it keeps growing and growing and growing, right? So now they're trying to figure out other places to go. And now you have ships going to other ports. You talked about that before. Right. Other ports, other places, other things. But yeah, it's just like, and that's just the supply chain. It is, the world is being affected at every possible level, right?
Yeah. We heard a story this morning about the United States Postal Service is trying to hire, 9,000 people, and their prices are going to go up anywhere from 75 cents to $5 per piece, and people are just up in arms, and they're going, look, we have to meet all these costs. The U.S. Postal Service is already in a ton of debt. Times are slow. People make errors in their jobs, and things go to the wrong place and take too long to get there and have to be rerouted. And
well, you got to think about it.
Minimum wages went up, and people are enticing employees to come to work for more.
And first class is not first class as it used to be. First class takes a little while. You mail something first class, it may get there in a couple of days. It may take a week.
Yeah.
Right. But you go to FedEx overnight or FedEx, it's $20-$30 for it's kind of expensive. So $4 or $5 for postal is not that bad.
Right.
Now, if the government was smart, which they're not, in Japan, when I lived there and made change, but in Japan, the post office had a lot more freedom. The post office had its own banking system.
Oh.
So you could actually make deposits at your post office. You could, it also had, had a lot of investments because it was a bank. There were a million, very expensive buildings in Tokyo that were owned by the post office.
Interesting.
Because they did its own investments in buildings and stuff like that.
Privately owned, basically.
Essentially, no, it was still a government entity, but it had more freedom. So, but yeah, my girlfriend, we used to go into the post office, she'd buy some stamps and deposit her paycheck or get a withdrawal, right? It was just, why not? You've got a distribution all across the country.
Right.
Why not let them do other things? Now, it's a competence thing because, they may not have the best employees, but now here's an interesting thing. And I love our post office employees. I love them. They're great. It is not what it used to be. You used to think about, I'm going to get in the post office and I'm going to work there 20 years and I'm going to retire. Right now, it might be a different game. However, if they're still exempt from being required to have vaccinations, you might find a lot of federal employees wanting to hop over to the post office who are going to be getting laid off here in the middle of October.
Very true.
And so they're going to be able to fulfill those 9,000 pretty quickly if they can get people that they want to get in there.
Interesting.
So,
we're coming up on October. I can't believe it's already October. We had snow this morning on Imogene Pass, where we were just 2 days ago. It was 50 degrees here. We've got rain, hail, partly cloudy right now. But we have still a couple of events coming up. We have the Hump and Bump event, end of October. Trail Heroes coming up. Guys, we're probably not going to make it out to Trail Hero. It just doesn't make sense for us. It's a good wheeling event. It's good for a good cause and all that kind of stuff. But for a vendor show, that show doesn't fit our
schedule. Yeah, and really it's a schedule thing too. And again, if you guys are thinking about it and you were thinking about seeing us out there, go out there anyway. It's a great event for a great cause.
Yep, absolutely. And then so we will have the CTI trailer at Hump and Bump in Logandale before SEMA. So that's like the last weekend in October, I think, or weekend before or something like that. Then we'll have SEMA, and we have 2 Death Valley trips. They're on the books. We've already got, I think, a handful of folks signed up for them. So Death Valley is coming up. If you want to go to Death Valley, again, our trips are a little different. We don't try and do the same thing just repetitively over and over and over. So we have folks that want to join us on the adventure that they've already done because they know it's going to be different next time. And this will be obviously true with Death Valley in these next 2 trips. Number 1, we've not done a fall trip. So weather could be, who knows?
Well, and the difference of what it's like in the fall and what it's like in the spring, technically we're kind of springish, are completely different. I mean, it's just the conditions, and it's beautiful. I'm hoping that I'll be in a position to be able to come out to that. I know we will have better be. Well, look, I'm walking around. I got my soft boot on. I'm actually going today. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to to my first physical therapy appointment.
Cool.
And where I get tortured. I'm supposed to love it. You're going to love it. Stand up.
It's scary to use those things.
It's all those muscles that have atrophied. Yeah, that's
and it's amazing what happens.
Yes.
2 months. And I'm like looking at my left calf, muscle, strong. My right calf, it just flops. It just flops around like a fish. It's just a little dead fish.
Yeah. Like, and then they're going to say, okay, go ahead and stand on that 1 foot. And you're going to go, no.
I don't want
it.
I can stand on it. I'm walking around on it. I'm supposed to use a crutch with it, but I've been just walking around with it. However, I will say, and if anybody else knows of a air boot that is actually comfortable, please let me know because I'll buy the damn thing. But this one is got to be, and this is one that was provided by my podiatric surgeon's office, right? It's called Top Shelf, right? It's probably the cheapest one out there. And it is the most uncomfortable. Like I'm walking around with it and it's as if a hammer is hitting my heel every time. It's like, it just has no comfort.
I'm trying to two air chambers on it.
It has one. Well, it has several air chambers, 1 pump.
Oh, one.
It only has 1 pump.
I think mine has 2 pumps. I'll have to see what brand I had. I still have it.
But the it's like the worst designed shoe, and it just tortures my foot. Like I can walk around, but if I'm doing just heel stuff, it's just the heel's just getting hurt. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't.
You need to put a little Dr. Scholl's insole in it or something.
I'm thinking Dr. Scholl's insole. I'm gonna go start cutting up memory foam and just make my own.
Right. And it probably hurts too because you're exercising that part that's hurt too.
Yeah, well, and it's like but it's all about the heel is what kills me, and right, and so I can stand on it. I can kind of go what I just still haven't been able to do. And I'm stretching it, but I still haven't been able to like walk forward, like put the pressure on it. And that's fear. That is purely fear. I'm like, I don't want to stretch it. I don't want to mess it up. So it's just scary. But yeah, I go to see that. But yeah, I'll get through that. I'll be out there. We'll do Death Valley and that trip. Because again, we're trying to figure out the whole other gamut. But yeah, it's like, when is it? Like
it's
2 months or a month?
Second week in November.
Yeah, that's plenty of time.
Right. You got a whole month.
Yeah. Well, we have a whole new it's gonna be fun because we're gonna have some ARS stuff out there. We've got we just hired a new guy to head up ARS marketing and join us and it's gonna be a lot of fun next year. 2022 for ARS is gonna be an amazing year for that brand and for building it up. So we have
for our sponsors, 2022. I've had some questions and comments and what we're doing and whatnot. We'll get some stuff out to the folks and we'll have a schedule coming. I hope. Oh, it's so many events typically don't put their schedules up this early, so it's hard for us to try to plan from a budget perspective and where we're going to be at what point. But the big events are always kind of our anchors, and so we'll see what that comes out like, but I know that 2022 everybody's already looking forward to what that looks like, and
we're going to change some things up this next year. And I've been bombarded with messages we need the CTI trailer. We need the CTI trailer.
Right.
And they're all within the next couple of months. And I've been talking to one of the big events that's getting really big in Oklahoma is the Okie Jam.
Mm.
They have been begging us for years. So I sat down and I talked to Linda. I said, look, here's the dates. This will work. We can do this and this to make it over that way. So they're willing to work with us to get us there. So
interesting when the event wants to plan around when we're available. So,
I love that. I love that. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's cool. So we're going to, because there's a lot more, like we are actually doing 2 CTI events in October. So, the Rubicon Trail Foundation, which had to cancel Cantina for the con because of the fires, has on October 9th is a RTF show and shine at Dry Diggins Distillery. Now it's a show and shine presented by Metalcloak. We're the primary sponsor, but it's at Dry Diggins Distillery, which is up in El Dorado Hills. And the first time they did it actually was 2019, and we had the CTI trailer. It was awesome. So we're bringing the CTI trailer out again.
Cool.
And part of that for our listeners who are out here on the West Coast is because on the 16th we have Skills Day, and that got sold out really quickly. It's there, it sells out at 100 Jeeps. 30 of those are advanced beginners, which are people that have been there before. The other 70 are supposed to be pure novices. Now, we know that there have been a few people that have registered, not so much for the training, but because they want to do the CTI trailer. And so we're letting everybody know, if that's why you registered, was because you want to do the CTI trailer, come out to Dry Diggins Distillery on the 9th, and don't mess with people trying to be out there on the 16th. Because really, the CTI trailer is out there, but it's not, we'll get maybe 30 Jeeps done over the period of it, but it'll be, it's not till the afternoon.
Right.
So, because we get people to show up and say, hey, so when are you going to open the CTI trailer? Oh, well, we may or may not open the CTI trailer. We're just out here to do training. And so get in your Jeep and learn. But if you've taken a spot from somebody who's supposed to be learning, not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool. So, so we get to that. We have 2 events in October. Then it goes back into cold storage. and then we'll have our trips in November. So December, maybe we'll do something in
there's been some conversations about what December looks like for folks, and I know that, again, I mean, it's just hard to plan anything more than a couple months out these days, because you just don't know what the state of our environment is going to be.
It's true.
We'll make sure we keep everybody informed. We do have a contest actually right now.
That's right. We got to do it.
That's right. And I've got a word in mind. And if you missed last week's episode, you're going to have to go back and listen to that episode. And if you watch them all, you're going to have to watch them all. We may change. We may pull. Last year we were very straightforward. We threw out some keywords that you were supposed to keep track of. We never changed them. Who knows? Maybe next week we're going to say, yeah, those last 2 words were dumb. And so now it's a bunch of different words. And we're just like that. Number one, you guys all realize, as our followers, that we're doing this. We want to increase the folks that we're able to hit. And we want to make sure that we're doing a good job as well, and giving something back to you all for paying attention to us and putting up with us for the last 180 episodes or whatever we've now made.
It seems like so many years ago.
Yeah, and share our stuff out and get more followers. I know some of them want to keep us to ourselves and everything, but
well, share it out there, and that's part of it. Maybe we'll have to do some sort of bonus thing on that too. So here's what we did. Our first keyword went out last Thursday, which was the 23rd. So it'll be looking like it'll be from the 23rd, the 30th, then the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st will be our range, right? For those 5 weeks.
Yep.
So then we will have we will select the winner on the 28th, and on the 4th, the episode of the 4th, we will tell our winner. We'll actually have the winner on the show, November 4th. and we will, which will probably be, we'll record earlier that week, and we'll let the winner know everything that he won. So that gives us some time to do things.
Right.
But that being said, you need to be paying attention to the episodes. But like you said, it could be that the episode number, on the 14th or the 21st decides to change everything up.
That's right. That's right.
And that's totally
like
fine.
That.
That's just going to be
like
fun.
that.
So pay attention. Hey, so what is your idea? What's the keyword of the week?
So since we were just up here in the San Juans for the last few days, there was a gentleman that was very, very key to kind of providing a working environment for what the San Juan mining became. And his name was Thomas Walsh. He owned the Camp Bird mining area and provided a really good working environment for the people who worked for him. He had steam showers, he had running water for the miners and the prospectors that came up. He really changed the way that whole area was handled from an employer perspective. He did a very good job. One of his wife's name was Imogene Richardson.
Oh.
And so this keyword and the name of where the pass got its name from was Imogene. This week's keyword is Imogene.
Imogene. You're a Gene. We're all a Gene. Imogene. That's nice. That's a great backstory. So, all right. So this week's keyword is Imogene for now.
For now.
That's awesome. So what it means, guys, is you got to keep track of that, because there will be a requirement that we will announce on the episode of the 21st. We'll announce that requirement as to what you need to do to actually prove that you were part of this and you watched and listened and paid attention.
That's right.
Right. And we might even have to do something. So here's the deal, guys, because you may need to pay attention. Because if you're just listening to this and just listen to the podcast, you may have missed something in the video.
Very true.
And if you're just watching the video, you may have missed something on the podcast.
Right.
So, because we could easily just put up a sign that says, "We're lying. The big keyword is actually." So just pay attention. It may not happen.
And in typical Modern Jeeper and Metalcloak fashion, we typically don't do things very small. People go, "What am I going to win? A coffee cup?" No, we typically do things a little bit different than that, as our past winners know, and the few of you out there that have won something from us. Typically, we don't give away small things. Yeah. So
let's just put it this way: it'll be anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 worth of prizes and gifts and stuff. And it may not all be Metalcloak. It may be ARS. It may be some of our partners.
It might be my personal coffee mug here that I ran over in my Jeep and it didn't break, but the little black on it is from the tire, and I've washed it a number of times. That's not coming off.
That's Corey's mug.
That's Corey's mug. That's it. Yeah. It'll be signed by Corey.
It's bulletproof Metalcloak mug.
We should turn that into an NFT. that unique mug, which is one of a kind, we can attach to a blockchain, and ownership of that mug. We'll have to put a QR code on there. It'll be proven in the block. I don't know. Whatever I'm going. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just going off over the place. Well, that's awesome. This has been another great episode. I really appreciate you guys getting out early. As you know, this is actually really early in the morning for me to be doing and talking, which is why, listeners keep commenting on my drinks. Well, I had two so far, two Starbucks espressos. Yep. And Black Rifle Espresso Mocha. I haven't yet opened this up, but a Body Armor Light. I did drink my Celsius water, and I have a hot coffee. By the way, if you work for Metalcloak, these and that Celsius and other things are available for free to Metalcloak employees in the refrigerator section of our diner our refrigerator section.
We have a refrigerator section?
There's like a giant stainless steel one with big glass doors, and then there's 5 or 6 small ones with glass doors, all within there. And then we keep them stocked, and so it's just one of the benefits of working for this great company. So,
well, and if you want a tour, you can go out there and you get a free drink.
So you get a free.
That's right. You get a free drink at the end of the tour. After you walk through the 70,000 square feet of grueling environmental Yeah. So,
yeah,
but it's fun. Anyway, my friends, thank you so much for all of our Modern Jeepers out there. You know how to get a hold of us. Me, Matson at Metalcloak.com, Corey at Metalcloak.com, Jessy at Metalcloak.com, Modern Jeeper Adventures to check out the Death Valley trip. And keep an eye on there because we are in the mode now where we're trying to figure out the dates for 2022. Right. As well as, and we are going to get stuff up early. I know sometimes it gets delayed and blah, 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 but that's fine. We're getting it all up there. As well as ModernJeeper.com for news and information, and at ModernJeeperForum.com just to get out there and chat and share and do all the other things. So
yes,
thank you again for joining us. Anything else you want to add, Corey and
I think
Jessy?
we're good, my friend. Yeah, awesome. Have a good rest of your week.
Yes.
You too. Have fun and recover a little bit from your grueling
so we have more people coming.
Your grueling 4 days of wheeling out and taking care of these amazing people.
Absolutely.
And you miss my
cheers.
food.
We'll see you on the trails.